The second mechanical position in every good jump shot is a lift point, but it also comes with the movement of lifting the ball. So let's review quick. A good load point, no matter where I catch the ball, I bring the ball to my load point somewhere in my waist area, making sure my shooting hand is more on top of the ball, my guide hand is on the side, I've got my good shooting stance, my knees are a little bit bent. Now, to go from load point to lift point, it's an arm movement. Here's the first principle of this technique that you have to understand. Lifting the ball is the arms. It's not the body. I do not want to elevate. I don't want to jump. I do not want to rise with my body as I lift the ball up. That is bad mechanical timing with a jump shot. Lifting the ball is just my arms lifting the ball from my load point up to my lift point. Now, for me, I've got a lift point at about my forehead. That's okay for me. Other shooters have different lift points. Steph Curry, for example, has a lower lift point somewhere around his nose or his lips. You need to figure out what lift point works for you. Here are the technique and the principles you need to follow. First thing, when I lift the ball, I want to lift the ball high enough that I can get both my hand and my elbow more under the ball. There's some wiggle room. It doesn't have to be super strict, but what you don't want is for your elbow to flare out, and now you do not have any of these two fingers under the ball. So I'm going to remove the ball so you can get a good visual of this. If I am under the ball here, you can see these two fingers are squarely under the ball. As my elbow rotates out slightly, now only this finger is truly under the ball. If I let my elbow flare out even more, now I don't have any fingers under the ball. There's just this gap. That's not what we want. So as I lift the ball, I want to make sure that I get my hand, my fingers, especially these two fingers, and my elbow comfortably under the ball. Every player is going to be a little different. There's some wiggle room, which is why we teach comfortably under the ball, so that way I can then release and flick through my jump shot. So load point's the same. I lift the ball up, find my lift point, and again, you're going to find the lift point that works for you. This is either a low lift point around your chin, a medium lift point around your nose, a high lift point around your forehead, and anywhere in between. A bad lift point is going to look like this, right here to my shoulders. You'll see here, I don't actually get my hand under the ball. My elbow is pointed down to the floor. This is going to be a push shot. I started low, but I didn't really lift the ball. I got here, I pushed the ball, no good. Another problem with lift points is what we call a wandering lift point or a pulling lift point, whereas I bring the ball up, I actually pull the ball back before bringing the ball forward. Generally speaking, we want lift points to stay more in front of our face, not pulling and throwing. It is hard to create a consistent lift point if we're pulling and throwing the ball with almost a whipping-like action. We want to lift the ball to a consistent lift point so we can release from a consistent place. That's the principle of a lift point that you need to follow. So stay away from the extremes of too low and too high, and find that comfortable lift point where you can get the ball up in front of your face, you get your hand under the ball, you get your elbow under the ball, and then you're ready to shoot and release to the basket. So again, this is arm movement, load point to lift point. So let's look at it more fluid, more smooth. Load, lift, and then I'm ready to jump and release, which is the third part of a jump shot.